Have you ever just stopped and like thought about the size of the creator economy? Like it's seriously massive.
It is. It's kind of mind-boggling when you really start digging into the numbers.
There's supposedly going to be like 400 million creators around the world
Yeah.
soon. That's a crazy number of people.
Yeah, it's huge. And then when you look at the money involved, it's like influencer marketing alone was a $6 billion industry last year. $6 billion.
That's wild. And it's only growing from there. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, for someone with a regular job, a life, how can you actually make a decent living online?
Right.
Like maybe you have an hour or two a day to dedicate to it, but you don't already have thousands of followers. How do you aim for that five to $10,000 a month income that we hear so much about?
Yeah, that's the big question. It's definitely possible, but it's not easy.
So it's exactly what we're digging into in this deep dive. We've been looking at this program called Creator Launchpad by Thrivecart, and honestly, it has some really interesting insights.
For sure, it's all about building a powerful brand identity.
Exactly. And we really want to understand, like, why is this brand identity thing so important?
Mm-hmm.
And how can it actually help you stand out in the creator economy? You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's super important.
So one of the first things that really stood out to me in this Creator Launchpad thing was this comparison to some major economic shifts like the dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
Why do they bring that up?
Well, I think they're trying to point out that the creator economy is kind of going through a similar thing.
Like it's maturing.
Right. It's not the Wild West anymore. Like back in the early days of the internet, anyone could throw up a website and make money, but then the bubble burst, right?
Totally.
And the only ones who survived were the businesses that had a solid foundation. Like they had a clear purpose, a real value proposition, and they knew how to stand out.
So they're saying the same thing is happening now with creators.
Exactly. And just like after those economic shifts, the ones who build a strong foundation, now a strong brand, are the ones who are going to be most successful in the long run.
Makes sense. I think everyone's feeling that saturation online too.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
constantly scrolling through X and it's just an endless stream of content. It's so easy to get lost in all the noise.
You just feel like you're shouting into the void sometimes.
I know. And that's when those doubts start creeping in, like, am I even good enough? Or what am I doing wrong? It can be really discouraging.
Totally. And I think that's where this whole brand identity thing comes in, right?
Okay, so let's talk about that because it's kind of a big deal in this Creator Launchpad program. It's not just about having great content, it's about who you are.
Exactly. You can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows who you are or what you stand for, it's not going to matter.
So what exactly is brand identity then? Like, what are we really talking about here?
It's all about knowing your core values. Like, what do you believe in? What are your ideals and philosophies? It's about knowing how you want to help others and what makes you different from everyone else.
It's more than just having a catchy logo or a cool website, right?
Way more. It's deeper than that. It's about becoming a symbol of quality and trustworthiness. And it's about building a tribe of people who connect with your message on a really deep level.
So it's not about like showing off a fancy car, pretending to be something you're not. I mean, they specifically call out that kind of superficial stuff in the program.
Totally. People can see right through that. It's
No.
not genuine.
Right. So instead of trying to sell people on something they might not need, it's about building real connections and
Yeah.
fostering trust, right?
Exactly.
You're building a community of people who get you and what you're all about, and they trust you enough to buy from you.
It's about shared values and an emotional connection. That's what creates a lasting impact and builds loyalty.
That's so interesting. And it's not just theory, right? They use some really interesting examples in the program. They talk about guys like Alex Hormozy, Dan Coe, and even Andrew Tate.
Yep.
Now, regardless of what you think about their personal views, there's no denying they've all built huge followings. What's the connection to brand identity there?
Well, they all stand for something, right? Like Hormozy, he's all about making business knowledge accessible to everyone. He breaks down complex ideas into simple, actionable steps.
Right. And then you have Dan Coe, who's like the poster child for this whole solopreneur lifestyle. He's all about freedom and building a business on your own terms.
Exactly. And Tate, as controversial as he is, he's built a brand around a very specific, very strong image. He's tapped into a certain mindset, and whether you agree with him or not, he's resonating with a specific audience.
And that's the point, right? They've all built brands that go way beyond the content they create. They've created movements around their core beliefs, and that's a big part of why they're so successful.
So let's say you manage to build this strong brand identity. What's in it for you? Like, what are the tangible benefits?
There are so many. Like the program talks about how it can lead to a substantial increase in income. They even give a real-life example of a guy named Ben, the creator of Creator Launchpad himself, who went from feeling stuck in his corporate job in November 2023 to making $10,000 a month just 15 months later. Wow. 15 months. That's incredible.
It really shows you what's possible when you focus on building a brand.
Okay, so more money, that's definitely a plus.
Yeah.
And what about dealing with setbacks? Things like algorithm changes or even getting banned from a platform. I feel like that would be terrifying.
It definitely can be, but that's another benefit of having a strong brand identity. You're not just reliant on one platform. They actually talk about a guy named Josh who got banned from a platform but was able to rebuild his following really quickly because he had a strong brand that resonated with his audience.
So he was able to bounce back because he had a loyal following who connected with him, not just his content on that specific platform.
Exactly. And you know what else is cool? They have an example of a guy named John who was totally new to the whole creator thing. He was actually still in school, but he managed to build a business that was making him $3,000 a month in recurring revenue in just 53 days.
53 days. I mean, that's less than 2 months. What was his secret?
He focused on building a strong brand from day one. Instead of just throwing stuff out there and hoping it would stick, he took the time to really understand his audience and what they wanted, and he crafted his brand around that.
Okay, so a strong brand can help you make money faster, even if you're starting from scratch. And it can also help you recover if you hit a roadblock.
Absolutely. It's like having insurance for your business, you know?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's not just a few success stories, right? Creator Launchpad has a ton of testimonials from people who've seen real results from working with Ben.
So many. Like Esther talked about how it helped her find her unique selling proposition and really nail down her brand positioning.
Okay, that's huge.
Laji was all about the storytelling techniques he learned, and John, Kevin Lowe, Julian, they all talked about how it helped them get crystal clear on their ideal client, which led to better content and a more engaged audience.
Awesome. So they're attracting the right people instead of just anyone.
Exactly. And there's more. Yash Cooler, Silas Path, they both raved about the storytelling stuff too. And Vishnu and Monica said it gave them so much more confidence in their direction.
It really sounds like it touches on every aspect of being a successful creator.
Totally. And even OJ, Jacob, and Kevin Packer, they all saw a huge improvement in their branding and monetization efforts. It's amazing to see how powerful this stuff can be.
Okay, so Creator Launchpad is clearly big on brand identity. But how do they actually teach you to build one? They break it down into these modules, right?
Yep, there are 6 modules that walk you through the entire process, step by step.
So what's the first step?
The first module is all about niche and audience mastery.
What does that involve?
Well, it starts with finding a profitable niche, which they have this really cool 4-step bulletproof avatar framework for. And then you test it to make sure there's actually demand, you know. Then they have this dream desire framework for understanding what your audience really wants. You got to figure out your unique angle within that niche too, and define exactly who your ideal client is.
Okay, so you're basically getting laser focused on who you want to serve.
Exactly. And they teach you how to avoid common targeting mistakes.
Like trying to appeal to everyone.
Right. That's a recipe for disaster. It's better to focus on a smaller group of people who are really passionate about what you do.
Makes sense. So what else is in that first module?
They teach you how to build authority within your niche, optimize your online presence, and grow your following on X.
So it's about laying a strong foundation before you even start creating content, right?
Yep, it's all about setting yourself up for success. Then, Module 2 is all about content creation.
Okay, so now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. What's covered there?
Well, first you got to understand why some content gets ignored, and then they teach you how to write content that your ideal clients will actually be drawn to.
That's so important.
They cover the 3 main types of content that attract clients and how to turn cold readers into warm leads. You know, people who are actually interested in what you have to offer.
It's huge.
Then they get into the power of emotion in your content and how to use your personality to stand out.
So it's not just about being informative. It's about connecting with people on an emotional level.
Exactly. And they give you a framework for creating a 90-day content plan so you're not just winging it.
Okay, so you're being strategic about your content instead of just posting randomly.
Yep, and they even have a 5-second sticky test for short-form content. It helps you grab people's attention right away. And they teach you how to write long-form content that keeps people engaged.
Sounds really comprehensive. Okay, so we've got our niche, our audience, our content strategy. What's next?
Storytelling. Module 3 is all about the power of storytelling.
Which, like we said before, is super important for building that connection with your audience.
Totally. They teach you how to use these time-tested story tactics and give you this awesome infinite story ideation method for coming up with new ideas.
Oh, that sounds super useful, especially when you're feeling stuck.
It is. And they break down the two main types of stories that work best on platforms like X and explain the psychology behind using stories to attract clients.
So it's not just about telling any old story, it's about being strategic.
Right. And they have 4 rules for crafting scroll-stopping hooks. You know those little snippets of text that make you want to click and read more?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they show you how to build a powerful personal transformation story that resonates with your audience. Plus, they teach you about psychological triggers you can use to create those really emotional moments in your stories.
That's really fascinating.
Oh, and I almost forgot. They also give you 6 ready-to-use plug-and-play story structures. So even if you're not a natural storyteller, you can still use these templates to craft compelling stories.
That's awesome. So Module 3 is all about becoming a master storyteller. But how do you actually turn all this into income?
That's Module 4, Offer Creation. This is where you learn how to monetize your brand and your expertise.
All right, so let's talk money.
They start with this value equation method for crafting offers that your ideal clients will be like, yes, please, to.
Okay, so we're making it a no-brainer for people to buy from you.
Exactly. Then they have this one-page sales engine that you can build using a Notion template. It's super streamlined.
Notion, nice. So you can keep all your sales info organized in one place.
And they have this doctor framework for figuring out your client's pain points and then positioning your offer as the cure. It's really clever.
So you're not just selling a product or service, you're solving a problem for them.
Exactly. And they have a 5-step offer template you can use to create your offer quickly. Plus, they teach you how to instantly build authority in your niche so people trust what you're selling.
Makes sense.
Well,
What about the actual selling part? Do they cover copywriting and stuff?
yeah, they give you some essential copywriting formulas that are proven to work, and they talk about the psychology of buying, like how to create a shift in your audience's mindset so they're more likely to buy from you.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so we've got our offer nailed down. What's Module 5 all about?
Module 5 is called Business Breaking Branding.
That sounds intense.
It is. This is where they really help you stand out from the crowd. You know how crowded the online space is?
Oh, yeah.
They teach you how to communicate your big idea so people see you as the go-to expert in your niche.
So you're not just another face in the crowd, you're the authority.
Right. And they show you how to use the 4 Ps of marketing to attract high-quality clients.
Not just any clients, but the ones you really want to work with.
Exactly. And they teach you how to position your unique offer in the market so it stands out, and how to create content that reinforces your brand and builds your authority even more. They also talk about finding your unique brand voice.
Like how you communicate with your audience.
Yep. And they have a whole section on premium positioning so you can attract clients who are willing to pay for the value you provide.
So you're not undervaluing yourself.
Exactly. And they warn you about the 7 deadly branding sins that can sabotage your efforts.
Ooh, I'm curious. What are those?
Well, we don't have time to go into all of them right now, but let's just say you need to be aware of them. They also show you how to transform your brand into a captivating story and how to use the Netflix effect to justify premium pricing.
The Netflix effect. That's interesting.
It's all about creating a sense of abundance and value that makes people happy to subscribe to your services.
Makes sense. And the last module.
Module 6 is Scale with Sales. This is all about generating consistent revenue and scaling your business.
So this is where the rubber meets the road.
They teach you how to create 3 specific types of content posts that are really effective at bringing in leads. And they show you how to create viral lead magnets that grow your audience quickly.
Lead banks, that's those freebies you offer in exchange for someone's email address, right?
Yep. And they walk you through creating a marketing campaign that brings in recurring revenue.
So you're not just making one-off sales, you're building a sustainable income stream.
Exactly. They cover the 7 key types of emails that nurture your leads and get them ready to buy.
So you're building relationships and trust through email.
Yep. And they even give you a sales script you can use on your sales call so you feel confident and prepared.
I bet that's a huge help for people who are new to selling.
It is. And they have a whole sales toolkit to make the process easier, plus a plug-and-play sales funnel you can use to consistently attract qualified leads. They also show you how to turn new followers into leads and how to handle objections like a pro.
Wow, so it's like a complete system for building a successful creator business.
Totally. And they don't just teach you the theory, they give you all the tools and resources you need to put it into practice.
They really go all out. What about the program itself? Like, how much content is there?
It's a lot. There are 67 lessons, which is like, whoa, and over 7 hours of video instruction. Plus, they have a ton of bonuses like ready-to-use frameworks, a 90-day creator roadmap, a swipe file with successful examples, and a template for creating irresistible offers.
It really does sound like a valuable resource. And they had those limited time bonuses for people who joined the waitlist, right? Like, what were those?
Oh, yeah. They had a one-on-one coaching call, a brand audit, the ultimate swipe file, and a discount for the first few people who bought the program.
Smart move. It definitely creates a sense of urgency.
And they were pretty transparent about the pricing. They had a regular price and a limited time discount for early birds, plus a 100-day money-back guarantee.
So basically, if you're not happy with the program, you can get your money back. That's a pretty strong vote of confidence.
So you listening right now, we know you're all about learning new things and finding those aha moments. How does understanding brand identity, like we've been talking about, actually help you achieve those goals? Well, think about it this way. Building a strong brand identity gives you a clear roadmap in a world that can feel really overwhelming. Instead of just chasing trends and trying to be everything to everyone, you're focusing on what makes you unique and building a community around that.
It was about cutting through the noise and being intentional about your message and your audience.
Exactly. And that clarity can lead to more meaningful connections, stronger content, and ultimately a more fulfilling and successful journey as a creator. It's about working smarter, not harder.
It's about building a business that truly reflects who you are and what you stand for.
Exactly.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
If you want to succeed in the creator economy, you have to build a strong brand identity. It's not optional anymore. It's about defining who you are, not just what you do.
It's about the why behind the what.
Yes. And that brings us to our final thought for you.
Take a minute and think about the identity you want to build or strengthen in your own field.
What's the unique you that you want your audience to connect with and buy into?
And think about the creators you admire, the ones who have built those loyal communities. What is it about their brand that resonates with you?
How have they applied the principles we've talked about today to achieve their success? These are questions worth pondering as you navigate your own path in this exciting world of online creation.
Food for thought.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
See you next time.